Kohl. Appreciate you jumping on Hard As Unlimited's podcast. Our podcast is about mental health, the mental side of baseball, but really life. Tell us a little bit about just your journey, where you started, where you grew up. Did you want to be a big leaguer your whole life? And then that going through college or high school, all that, and then getting up to your pro career.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for having me on.
I appreciate it.
That's absolutely awesome that you're doing this. It's sick. I think getting perspectives from different people is huge. So I started in a super small town called Spiro, Oklahoma. About 3,000 people. One stoplight in our whole city. Then eventually moved to Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, when I was in 8th grade, kind of just for a bigger, kind of more exposure in sports like basketball, football, baseball, and it was super tough for me at first. Like obviously going from a class of I had 42 kids in my whole class,
3,000.
Exactly, and so like going up there, I didn't really know what to expect. I know there was I knew everything was bigger there, like everything like football. Like they just took it a lot more serious than I ever took it, and
So is it bigger in Oklahoma or Texas? Everything bigger?
I'll give Texas. I'll give Texas its perks. It's different. But like whenever you're moving to like a 6A school from like a 2A school of Oklahoma, it's a huge jump. It's a huge jump. And didn't really know what to expect. Get up there and meet with the football coach first because I was like, man, I feel like I'm about to be the next Sam Bradford at the time, where I was a huge OU fan, and. So get there, and I just realized the whole, life up there is faster. Everything's different. So kind of just start going through sports, and I'm like, man, I really struggled with it, at first, because I was like, as easy it is, to say, you're in 8th grade, and, it's super easy to just adjust. It was super hard for me, being from small town, grew up very, small town Oklahoma. My family, everybody was there, my grandparents, great-grandparents. And so then I kind of just got to a point where I was like, I have to accept this. This is literally what's going to be. This is what it's going to cost for me to, eventually live out my dreams and, pursue what I want to pursue.
And you're in 8th grade?
8th grade, yeah.
Sick.
And,
sick.
Well, I was like, I really didn't have a choice. I can't move out. And so, dude. So I get there, and kind of I would say probably my sophomore year is kind of when everything started to hit me that I was like, all right, I think baseball is going to be the number one choice for me. Kind of grew up into it. So my dad played 10 years of minor league baseball, so I understood the grind from that standpoint. Right. Uncle played 13 years in the big leagues. So I always knew what it took, but I didn't really know what path I was going to go down, which sport, because I loved them all.
Right.
And so then eventually, each year came around, I slowly started to grow a little bit, started to throw a little harder, and I was kind of like, all right, stop playing football, stop playing basketball, and I was like, this is what I need to focus on.
Yeah.
So thankfully, everything worked out, and about my senior year is when I committed to my junior summer, going into my senior year is when I committed to the University of Oklahoma. Finally, broke the 90-mile-an-hour meter as a pitcher, which is huge. Senior year, ended up breaking my foot, and not really sure what was going to happen with the draft, because I knew that's what I obviously wanted to do.
Right.
As much as I wanted to go to college, I hated school.
Yeah.
But then had a couple workouts. Went to Wrigley for a pre-draft workout. Thankfully, it was up to 93, and that's kind of all I needed to see. And eventually got drafted, and kind of still living out my dream. I'm still doing it, dude. I enjoy it every day. Grateful, and it was a huge jump just going from, like I said, small town Oklahoma to, a huge, the biggest public high school in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But I look back on going through the sacrifices that I had to do, going from a small town to a big town was it meant so much. You hear the words when people say you have to be, comfortable being uncomfortable.
100%.
That was the biggest thing that, it sucked for a little bit, but once you get comfortable in it and there's so many things that I was able to pick up, the good and the bad. It was a lot for me to take in at the time, but thankfully, like I said, it showed me different ways of life. Showed me.
I think
it's such a breakthrough. I mean, everybody's path is different, and that's what like a bigger school like exposure does for you, and like you at LSU. I mean that's
Bro,
a huge
huge
difference.
My Andy Canizero was one of my coaches while I was there. He said, Cole, do you think if you go and do what you did numbers-wise at Southeastern, which is 30 minutes down the road, and you put up even better numbers, you think you're getting drafted in the 4th round? I'm like, no. Because of that exposure, because of you getting around a bigger high school. I was lucky enough to get a chance at LSU, and those bigger names, one, hold weight because, one, a lot of people are coming to watch it, so they know that you can handle all that. You've dealt with all those people around. You've competed with a ton of people to get there. Yeah, dude, that exposure is definitely everything. Do you have a defining moment in your career or your life where you're like, the mental side of thing is a separator? Like, I need to, it could be a game changer. Because obviously when we're young and dumb, not thinking, playing loose, all that stuff. As you get older, you start understanding the world, repercussions, what could happen, what is good that could happen. Was there a moment in your career or life where you're like, okay, like that made a difference because I was tight up here?
I will say there's actually a couple moments that, I mean, even from a little kid, like, so a lot, actually, I've never even spoke about this on any podcast that I've been on. So when I was like 11 years old, I was at a Pizza Hut with my mom, my brother, my sister, and my sister's friend, and there was a drive-by shooting at the Pizza Hut that I was in.
What?
Like some
bullets
dude
flying through?
Yeah, flying through. Like when we were leaving.
You heard this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking about the mental aspect of like things, and
wild.
so and so we're leaving. Like my mom opens up the door. She's holding my little brother. I'm walking out like right behind her, and they see this truck that like just pulls up, and this dude just pulls a shotgun up over a steering wheel, and shoots into the door that we're walking out of. And like completely insane, because I was just walking. I mean, I was, like I said, I was super young, so I didn't really like, pay attention.
Yeah.
And all I hear was this loud like pop, and I thought it was like balloons or something like to the left of me.
Right.
And dude, all I see is like this glass like all over me, and my mom like grabs us, and we go into the women's restroom, and she sees that like I'm bleeding like behind my ear, and I had like shards of glass that got stuck behind my ear. My dad wasn't with us. My mom calls him because we thought this guy was gonna come in. Like we were like, this is it. Like I could like feel the panic like from my mom, obviously. Yeah. So then about 10, 15 minutes later, like we're still in there. We're like not sure what's happening. We finally come out. Like the cops are there. Everything's good. But like ever since then, like is when I really like started like believing like guardian angels. Like I'm here for a bigger purpose. Like I have a reason on this earth to do like something special with my life, whether that's in sports, whether that's in helping one person out.
Right.
So that was a big one.
That's a sick one, dude. That's awesome. I like it too.
And then when I was also like 10 or 11, I was diagnosed with spinal meningitis, which is like, if you come out like healthy.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's a disease in the fluid from your spine to your brain, like the fluid around it.
Yeah.
And usually like, I think it's like, I don't know this exact statistic, but like 65 or 70% of kids like are diagnosed with it, come out with, are either blind, deaf, or some kids like pass away from it.
Oh my God.
And so like, I guess like that helped me getting into like even like pro ball or like just stuff like day-to-day stuff that normal people really feel like is life altering.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I went through it at a young age, and I kind of look back now like I'm just lucky enough to be here. It's like seriously like taking every day with a grain of salt and being grateful for every relationship that I have, every friendship that I've grown. It's just like, I mean, that could have been taken away from me at a young age.
Right.
And so like when I struggle like in pro ball and stuff, I mean, my mom, especially my mom's like the one I go to. Like if I pitch like garbage because I'm like, I don't want to talk to dad right now.
Right.
And, you know.
Might release you from
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so she kind of just brings me back down to life. Like, you know, obviously as athletes, like you go through and you think baseball is, that's it. Like if I don't have baseball, I have nothing.
Been there.
And in the moment that you struggle, that's all you feel. Like I feel like when I pitch bad, I'm like, man, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Like if I struggle on the baseball field, I'm Kohl Franklin. I struggle as Kohl Franklin, not as just a baseball player. Like ruins my whole day.
Yes, dude.
And she'll call me and she'll tell me, she's like, you know, I know it might seem hard right now, but like, you're still Kohl Franklin the person, not Kohl Franklin the pitcher. And like differentiating those two were like the two biggest like blessings in my life. Like being able to go back and be like, I love this game and I've dedicated my life to it, but that's not who I am.
It's not, dude. I had the exact same experience. I was in low A, just came off best year of my life, go to College World Series. I'm top of the world, get drafted. First half of the season, I had 222 in low A. I can't talk to any of my infielders because Luis Garcia at the time didn't know too much English. Corredor from Venezuela didn't, and Antuna didn't know much of anything. And it's freezing, bro. It's 28 degrees, snow's coming down. I was in the World Series playing in front of 30,000 people, and I'm like, I can't hit water if I fell out of a boat right now. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I have that first terrible half, and I remember crying, bawling my eyes out, about to go into the movies with a couple of my boys over the break because I definitely didn't make the All-Star team. And I remember just like breaking out of my dad, and I said those exact words that you just said. I said, Dad, I don't know who Kohl Freeman is without baseball.
Yeah.
And my moment was as soon as I heard his voice crack and I heard him start getting emotional. For some reason, that snapped me out.
Yeah.
The tears dried up, and I was like, hell no.
Yeah.
They've done way too much for me to think I'm just a baseball player.
Yeah.
And to hear him hurting made me realize, dude, you've got this all wrong.
100%.
You are not a baseball player. You're not on your statistics. It's what you do off.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's something I wish I would have learned a little bit earlier too in the life, because obviously it only benefited. But dude, that's a great freaking story, bro. Did you have a moment in your career where you just wanted to quit?
Multiple
moments?
Dude. Well, I wouldn't say because of the baseball side. I got super homesick like my first like couple of years like being away. Like I never experienced college. I was with my parents basically the whole time. Like my parents still my best friends.
And you grew up small town.
Yeah, grew up small town, so like everything's super like family oriented. So the first time it hit me was I was in short season rookie ball in 2019. They don't even have that anymore. But I was in Eugene, Oregon. I mean, damn near across the world. It felt like I was sitting there like, dude, this is so far away from home. And dude, I was absolutely shoving. I had like a 1.4 going into All-Star break. I was sitting there. I was like, man, like this is the best I'm playing. But I was like, man, I've never missed home more than I've missed home. And I was like, I don't know if I could sit here and like continue to do this. Like, I want to be home.
As you're doing
and I was doing good. Like I wasn't even struggling. And it was super tough on me, like to just go out and do it on my own for so long. And I was sitting there, I was calling my mom every night. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this, man. I was like, this season's too long. I was like, I want to go home. And then I will say, 2022, after I came off my subscap injury, I was like, this is like after I got hurt, I came back and I was like 97 to 100. And I was like, first of all, I'm not, no one's touching me. I was like, I'm him.
Good luck.
And, dude, so I mean, the first two batters I faced that year in high A in South Bend, I go out and I'm like, just sitting 100. I just punch him out 6 fastballs. I'm like, dude, I'm literally gonna be in the biggest. Yeah. I was like, no one's gonna hit this. And sure enough, they start hitting it. And it was like I almost built up this false like pretense in my head that I literally was unhittable, to where like there's no way I'm not gonna succeed.
If you got hit, it's like what's going on?
It's the absolute, it's a life-altering hit.
Yeah.
And later that season, dude, I just struggled like finding the strike zone. Just struggled in every aspect of the way. Like I threw hard, that was it.
Yeah.
There was no command, and I was just getting there, and I had like 3 outings where I didn't get out of the first inning, and like I literally was sitting there and I was like, damn, I really don't know, like, if I truly enjoy this like I've always said I do.
Right.
Like, you know, it doesn't matter what you say outside your body.
Yeah,
Whatever goes on in here, that's what you
Yeah.
believe. And I got to that point, dude, and I was struggling bad because I was just like, I feel like I'm letting my teammates down. I feel like I'm letting my family
So
down.
it's compounding,
And so everything was
everything.
just, it was like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And eventually, I mean, like I said, dude, I mean, 95% of it came with like just like talks with friends, teammates, like family members, and it took like that outside, like, I don't want to say like it took like outside people to like, you know, push me back into wanting to play,
Right,
but
yeah.
it just took like that, you know, that I needed to hear like
From others.
yeah, like to boost me up. And to this day, I mean, yeah, that was about it. And it was all, and then again, like going into pro ball after high school, you don't really experience failure, like, and then once you do, you take it
So
10 times harder than like if you would have done it in college and struggled. Like, I never had that like building block of like struggling before. And I mean, those were the toughest times. I literally was like, dude, I don't know.
What
this
kept
is
you
for me.
going? Was it the outside people talking to you,
100%.
or was it like you hearing that and then like, okay, in my mind, it's not that big of a deal, or it was just the outside people?
I would say a lot of the outside people, a lot of the coaches, you know, a lot of people that I worked with, just like you were saying, like you know, you feel like you've come too far to like, you know, just give up.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then I kind of like I said, just took another step back and was like, you know how many people would kill to be in my position?
Yeah.
That would there's people who are, you know, just get bad starts from the jump, and I would be, you know, that's so, you know, brutal for me to try to give up a dream. Like I could never give up a dream.
Because I'm having a bad month or two, like, and I'm getting hit.
Like, you know how selfish that sounds? Like, and thinking about like quitting on your dream when like there's kids with disabilities who can't even, you know, fathom of how nice we have life. And and I was like, I owe it to those kids, like, who will never have the chance to play professional baseball. And I was like, I could not imagine giving up a dream that I have.
Dude, that's an incredible perspective, honestly. Do you have like a personal mantra or like mind shift that you go to? Like, for example, mine was always growing up, why not me?
Yeah.
I wanted to be the second baseman at LSU. I wanted to ask myself, why not me? Somebody's got to fill that spot, so why can't it be me? And if I didn't go work out, that's why.
Yeah.
If I went to a party and didn't go to practice or something, that was why.
Yeah.
So I started turning it into, okay, why not me? Is there anything you've got, Mamba mentality? Did you come up with it on your own? Like anything like that? Or anything just that's for you?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I think the biggest thing was just kind of like, when I talk about like all the things I went through as a kid, I was like, I've come too far to just, you know, to stop. Like, my end goal is get every single, you know, ability out of myself and, you know, work my tail off until I literally can't do it anymore, or until my arm literally just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just, I owe that to myself, the people who believe in me, the people who have helped me get, you know, as far as I've gotten. And it's almost like, I would say, like I said, again, it's like more of an outside, like help for me, like to push me to like be the best I can be. I wouldn't say there's like one line, but it's like I just owe it to everybody. I owe it to myself, and I owe it to that, you know, little 6-year-old kid who was doing Derek Jeter throws in the front yard.
Yeah.
Like that's
Making
why I owe it to.
everything a backhand.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
right
Yeah.
at you, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, no chance, dude. I'm jumping and throwing this. But like I owe it to myself.
What's one thing that you would like to let younger athletes know that they don't understand about the athletic life? Is it the mental side of the game is just so much different? Is it, you know, hey, the everyday games when you get the pro ball, that was beating you down? Is it anything specific, or is it just because, believe me, I know the whole season in itself, it just accumulate to one where it's absolutely just overwhelming. Anything on that end, or?
I would say, like, I mean, especially in today's world, like kids just see the social media side of pro ball, and so they think it's like, you know, it's super sick. It's a blast. Like, it's such a grind.
Yeah.
Like,
they see all the pretty moments.
Yeah. Like, if you don't go through it, you don't. I mean, people always think, you know, oh yeah, I'm in AAA with the Cubs, blah blah. They think it's, you know, it's so nice. Oh my gosh, that must be so cool. And like a lot of people don't see the grind that you go through, the repetitive days. Like, I mean, The two biggest things are just the mental side of like staying locked in and like even when you don't want to do it, like you have to, because obviously you know, being an athlete, like you have to do stuff to make sure you feel good the next day.
Right.
And
then if you don't, then now you're feeling terrible. You're gonna play worse. Now you're mad at yourself, and it's like, what just happened?
Exactly.
If I would have just done my shit.
Exactly.
At the end of it.
That and just like how we play so many games, and so like it's so easy to get lost in such a repetitive way of life in those in that season, to where sometimes you gotta wake yourself up and be like, hey, all right, like I said, take yourself out of the situation and realize how blessed you are to be in it.
Right. Yeah. What about the ambition part, bro? Because how do you balance the ambition part with having a steady mental health side? Because on my end, bro, especially when I was up until I think that moment I had that conversation with my dad where I broke down, my ambition of wanting to be the best or get to the next step wasn't allowing me to understand what I just accomplished.
Yeah.
But also when I was in the moment, example, I gave the Fraley. I was 3 for 4 against Florida, and I missed the inside fastball I was looking for, popped it up. And there's a picture of me out there in the game, and I'm talking to my dad. It looks like we just lost the game. Number one team in the nation. We just beat them at the box. But I was sick to my stomach because I'm like, dude, if you think you're that good, like, you don't miss that pitch. You go 4 for 4.
Yeah.
Like, but that wasn't doing anybody any. It was only hurting me when I did great things.
You did what you needed to do.
So, like, how do you balance that on, you know, like you said, those 3 starts? Like, obviously your ambition was, you know, nobody can touch me. Now I'm getting touched a little bit, and then that fall is so hard.
Yeah.
How do you balance that now with going through those, you know, life lessons where you want more, but not settling, but I'm good with what I did, and I'm gonna build off that.
Yeah. That took me years, dude. Like, I will say, like, probably the past 2 years is when I've kind of like found something that worked for me, and it's like, it's super easy to say, but it's like short-term memory. Like, like
these cliches are cliche, but there's so much that's deeper, dude.
Yeah, it's tough, and like for me, like now it's building up to a game. Obviously, same thing. You know, you're gonna go out and you're gonna, you know, dominate. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that before I step on that mountain that I'm gonna have a bad day. And you know, if I have a good day, just don't get. I go back to this analogy, and it's don't like ride the roller coaster. Like, don't be too high with your ups, and don't be too low with your downs.
Yeah.
And that's worked for me the past 2 years, because the years before, I was on that roller coaster, and I was like, oh, dude, I'm the worst pitcher ever. Oh my gosh, am I Mariano Rivera? I was like, bro, I could never find that balance, and it took a lot of time. Like, it was not like a, you know, one outing thing to where I figured out like this is what works for me.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, go out there and like do everything I possibly can to know that I'm prepared to go face this team that I'm about to face. If I do bad, I'll give myself the night. I can be pissed off for that night.
Yeah.
As soon as I wake up, being pissed off from last night's not going to help me today.
Only going to compound it, make it worse.
And so that, and like,
and it sounds easy to say.
It is very easy to say. Because you're going to wake up and you're going, are you kidding me?
My ERA is
I was like,
there.
dude, I just got absolutely smoked yesterday in front of everybody.
And I got to go back to the field and throw, and they're right there on the line.
Yeah, there's no way. And like, that's the two biggest things. Like, I finally like found that like clear headspace to where it's like, if I pitch good, like give myself that night.
Yeah.
Have a night. Pitch bad, give myself that night. And then the next day, it's do as best as you can to try to not be on that roller coaster.
Tommy.
The old John?
The old John right there.
The old man.
How many months out are you?
So, what is it? 21st? I am 9 months and 4 days.
You full go?
Basically, yeah. So right now it's a super long like throwing build up.
Yeah.
Bullpens right now kind of have a max velo at 94 currently, and kind of just slowly kind of building back up to reintroduce throwing hard to my elbow, my new one.
Yeah. Where'd they take it? Hamstring or?
No, so thankfully I only had the internal brace, so I didn't have to do the full thing. So I just pulled mine off the bone, and so they just take the brace and like just anchor it back down.
What's up, TT?
TT.
What up, baby? Do?
What's up, kinfolk?
I'm chopping it up.
There ain't no deal, man.
My dog.
We got like one or two more questions and then we done.
What up, boy?
Sounds like a good day.
So yeah, you gotta obviously reintroduce your arm. You don't want to shock all that stuff. Rehab. I mean, obviously we've had a ton of friends. I've got my boy Blaine that's on his second Tommy John now.
Yeah.
I've heard of pitchers getting in dark places. I mean, obviously you don't know how your arm's gonna respond. Am I gonna have it? It could come back even better.
Oh, my
Got
bad.
up there again. It could come back even better. I mean, bro, that's a tough spot. How was that? Was the tough part right after surgery? Was it right before? Was it the rehab itself? The in there being in the sling?
Dude. I mean, there was multiple times where I was super afraid and like worried about the unknown of coming back.
Yeah.
So the day I blew out was I was in the third inning in St. Paul, and I remember like sitting there and I was in the training room, haven't seen my mom yet, and like I said, my mom's kind of the one I go to about like like comfort.
Yep.
And I remember I FaceTimed her in the training room, and as soon as she answered, I just started bawling, and I was like, this is brutal, and it sucks because you set out in your head like what that season's gonna be like. Mm-hmm. You never include injuries or the bumps in the road that you're gonna go through. And so I cried then, went and then left and then saw her again and just started bawling again. And it was because it's the uncertainties that like no one can control.
And did you have this weird feeling of like you almost let her down type thing?
Yeah,
like
I feel like I let everybody down.
Yeah, that's like I'm injured and I feel like obviously I didn't mean to do this and I feel like I'm letting everybody down.
Yeah.
I think it's just more shit we hold on top of us. Like
100%. And so that was a big one. And then right after surgery, just kind of letting the devil like creep in my head and of about how long this is going to be before I'm back, doing what I love to do. Mm-hmm. And just like I said, the unknown, the fear of the unknown was the biggest thing for me. Like, what if I come back and I don't throw hard?
Right.
What if I come back and I just literally hurt again?
Right.
And it took a lot of honestly like prayer for me to kind of get over that like hump of like that mental block of just not knowing. And a lot of good conversations with the people around me, a lot of good conversations with Braden. I mean, it was super tough. It was because like I said, it's any injury, you don't know how your body's going to respond whenever you try to step on the gas again.
It's always in the back of your mind.
That's all you think. Yeah. And
like
my first throw, like I was sitting there, I was like, so scared to let it go because I was like, I just don't want to feel that again.
Right.
And thankfully I've been surrounded by a lot of guys who played a lot of time in the big leagues and have had Tommy John, and they were able to like help me out like mentally, and I'm just super thankful to be where I am now.
Yeah.
Because that 8 months leading up, dude, was tough, but it was just I always remembered that like I can do this. I can do it. Whatever challenges are in front of me, I can overcome them.
Right.
If not, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability to try to overcome it.
Yeah. No, man, that's perfectly put. You brought up, talking prayer and stuff like that. I heard this quote from an old friend, and it gave me a lot of perspective on the God side. They said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plan.
That's incredible.
Like, right?
That's incredible.
Like, and I thought about it, and I'm like, it's not our plan, bro.
No.
It isn't. He knows where we're going. I believe he gives us a bunch of different paths, and he knows where everyone leads. Which path are you going to pick?
Yeah.
So
I like that. I like that. I will say this. I'm going to brag on myself. I just read a book for the first time since like 7th grade. Dude, I
haven't even read a book.
Hate reading, bro. I hate reading. Can't stand it. And there was this book written by a pastor, and it's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
Come on.
And
Mark Homer.
yes.
Homie.
And it just like talks about how like we miss so much in life by like we're always going, like everything's like, especially in today's day, like everything's so fast paced to where like you never get to sit down, have conversations, like truly be mindful of the conversations that you're having with random people that you just met. Like everything is, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. And and there's a quote in it. It says, if the devil cannot make you sin, he'll make you busy.
Wow. Bar.
Yeah. And then there's another quote that says, a lot of people are too alive to die and too dead to live.
He's showing off at this point now.
No, I'm saying, I'm just saying it because I just read a book, man.
That is sick.
But
dude.
I'm talking, it was like, it like changed like such, because everybody, I would, 100%, I wanted that fast life. I want to be like, all right, I got to be doing something all the time.
Yeah.
But like reading it, like changed my perspective. Like now it's like, I still get, pissed off if I'm driving behind a slow car or something, but it's like,
we'll speed it up.
but like, then just like taking a deep breath and just like truly being thankful in any situation, any scenario that I'm in. And it helps so much. Like, for instance, like one of my buddies on the Cubs like were asking me for like mechanic help. Usually I'd be like, yeah, like we can talk about it every now and then, blah blah. But me and him literally sat there and broke it down, and I was like, dude, it almost like it's just like a boost like for myself. Like I felt so much better.
You. Yeah.
I felt so much better being able to like truly, take my time and show him that I care about, his career, not just mine. Mm-hmm. And it was
as a person,
like literally anything. As like, because some people feel like when you just, everything's fast paced, like you don't have a good conversation, a genuine conversation with somebody because you're just like, all right, man, I'm ready for this to get over.
Right.
But ever since I read that book, dude, it was kind of like, all right, I really need to slow down and truly, just care about the person that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Because they're giving me their time of the day. I deserve it to them to give my full attention, and it's helped a lot.
Oh yeah. Are you gonna be reading more books now?
Nah, we'll see. Right, I'm like, probably gonna be like
maybe
a one-a-month type of guy. Yeah, I'm not gonna be one of those serial readers.
All right. Last question for you. How do you define success now compared to that kid that was coming out of high school? Because I'm sure, like me, success was big leagues or bust. That's it.
Yeah.
What does success look like for you?
I think success for me now is based on picking up things that I didn't know before and being able to learn in every situation that I'm put in, whether that be on the baseball field, whether that be off. I think growing as a person and not just an athlete is the biggest thing for me. And that's how I define my success now. If I struggle, find one thing that I can use from that struggle to help me, not just have it tear me down.
There's a lesson in it.
Yeah, there's a lesson in everything that you go through. And I think like truly like spending time and understanding those lessons more help. Like that's what I base success on now. It's like you said, dude, I used to think, man, if I'm not a big leaguer, I suck. I'm
like,
terrible.
What am I doing?
Yeah,
waste
literally.
of time.
And so I think just going through and just being mindful about everything that I go through on the field, off the field, and truly just letting that help me, get me mentally, physically to the next step. Whether that next step be a next start, whether it be next month, whether it be, I make my big league debut and, have a great career. Just taking the small things of each situation.
It's perfectly put, man. Well, Kohl with a K.
My dog.
I appreciate you coming, bro.
Appreciate you, baby.
No doubt,
Thank
bro.
you.